If you ever had your heat go out right before a snowstorm, you know how frustrating it can be. With my heater, it seems to be the motor that took a crap on me. So today I'm going to show you how to fix that and what I did to get by through the night last night. So I'm going to get started by removing this panel. And I'll show you exactly what this thing's doing with my Goodman heater. Alright, so I got the panel removed. The problem is the blower motor. Can't really see it, but it's back there. Already tested the capacitor, but I'll show you how to do that later on. So what I'm going to do first is show you what this thing's doing. So I'm going to flip the burner switch back on. And it won't work without the panel unless you depress the switch. So I'm going to press that. And we'll wait for it to kick on. In a little bit it'll ignite. Up here in the top you'll be able to see the flame coming through that hole there. And the rest of the process will come on. Now a disclaimer, I am not an HVAC technician. I am a mechanic, but I know a couple of things to get by, so that's what I'm going to show you. Alright, so soon you'll see this thing light up. That's the combustion fan running right now. It's the igniter and the burner. Now soon this motor, this blower motor should kick on to provide airflow to the house, but you'll see what the problem is here. Put the phone down. You hear the fan wanting to kick on. Sometimes it just hangs up and it doesn't want to do anything. So I'm gonna shut that off and get to work here. Alright, take the door back off. Yeah, that sounds great. Now to get the blower motor out, you'll have to disconnect these wires off the control board. Move this flame sensor up out of the way. It's right above it. You don't want to break that. And then normally there would be two screws that go in up here and hold this squirrel cage in. The blower motor, blower. But I already took them out because I had the support yesterday. So you'll see it just kind of, it's on slots in there. So you got to make sure you pull it straight out and put it back in straight when you're going back together with it. That right there is the start capacitor, which I already tested, but I will show you how to test that later. All right, everything's disconnected off the panel and off the transformer for the thermostat. Now this flame sensor, you just kind of pull it down, slide it up out of the way, and just kind of slide it out. Just like that. Just kind of let it hang as you pull this motor out. These here are all fan motor wiring, so that's all coming out. I got lucky with my thermostat. I've got enough wires so I don't have to mess with these. So I'm just going to leave them connected. So I got plenty of slack there. So I'm going to pull this guy out. There you go. Nothing to it. back of the motor, you have 3 bolts. There, and there. Don't forget to hook the ground up when you put it back together. And on the lower motor side, this one's got what they call a D shaft, so you got to take this set screw out. Another thing, I just had this apart yesterday, so what I initially had to do was beat this out with a hammer while kind of holding the squirrel cage up. And it just, I kind of got it to the point, and then I just hit it through with a punch and a hammer. You'll see here in a second. 3/8 wrench. Loosen that guy up. You don't have to take it all the way out, but I'm going to so it doesn't get lost. And then just gonna pull the motor out. Undo the screws and then I'll come back. Alright, so it's not coming out as easy as I thought it would, being just apart yesterday, so I'll show you what I have to do. See that shaft? Refrain from hitting on it with metal because you'll mushroom this out, then you're going to have a hell of a time getting it out. So I'm just using the end of the handle of the hammer here. Let's see if she'll come out now. There we go. One blower motor. Junk. Already checked to make sure this is the right one. Got this from the Ranger. They're the ones that could get it the quickest. Kind of hard to do with one hand. When you get something like this, you want to make sure, put them side by side, make sure you're getting the right thing. Looks pretty close. Got the D on the shaft, so we're good. Now all that's left is everything. These wires hooked up. Why so many wires on a single phase motor? Well, it's a 4-speed motor, so each one of these will get power from the control board to ramp up to whatever speed it's calling for. But other thing I wanted to show you was this capacitor. Sometimes that's all your problem is. So, take your screws out. Go. Don't touch the terminals, you will get zapped. There we go. $20 farad, 370 volt, plus or minus 5%. So we're looking for around 19 to 21 farads on this thing. First thing you got to do to test it is you have to discharge it. So grab a handle, grab something metal that you're not going to get shocked with, you know, that you have. Yeah, don't do this with a wrench, but you got to discharge this thing. Sometimes you get a spark, sometimes you don't. Just short out the terminals for a couple seconds, discharge it. Now we're good to test it. put your meter on capacitor test. There we go. Let me turn the light on so it's easier to see. You just take your leads. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. .09, so this one's in range. Just touching the two terminals. Right there. So that's good. All right, time to send the motor on. I put some anti-seize on the shaft to keep it from seizing up next time. You know, it helps the next guy, which will, you know, most likely be me changing this. So I'm just gonna, I don't know if I can do this in film. I'm gonna put this through like that and get it started in the squirrel cage. There we go. Easy as that. I'll get the motor bolted up, and then we'll adjust the shaft and lock her down. All right, so motor's bolted in. But we still got to adjust this, because if you just lock this down where it's at right now, no bueno. So we're gonna adjust this to where it's kind of in the middle here. Kind of split the difference between the two edges. Sounds a little bit better. So we'll grab our set screw and lock that thing down. Light is really bright. Stop spinning. That's better. This thing's ready to go back in. Just remember these two edges here have to go up in these little slots that you see. See in here? One there and one there. So I'll try to do this while I film. There we go. She's home. Two screws to secure it to the housing. versus the furnace, whatever these HVAC people call that. That one started. Alright, I'll go ahead and put our flame sensor back in while we're here. This mess. And start plugging our wires back in. All right, she's all back together. Let's see what she does. Gotta wait for the thermostat to kick on. This is a combustion blower. You'll see this light off here in a second. And we have combustion. All right. Couple seconds, the motor should kick on for the blower. There we go. All fixed. All right, so the heater's all fixed, but I'll show you what I did with this thing last night to kind of get it by. You can tell it's not in the best shape. I think what happened is the bearings dropped and allowed the armature to drop down into the commutator and the motor, and then it would just kind of short out. But what I did last night is I took this thing apart. Got 4 long bolts to go through the entire case of the motor. So I just took these nuts off. Whole assembly will pull out like that. Oops, glad I don't have to reuse that. Anyways, clean up the armature a little bit because it was pretty dirty. Can't really tell. But then what I noticed was all these marks on the bearing shaft. So what I did is I cleaned this up a little bit, cleaned the whole assembly up, and put grease around it, so that it wouldn't contact it a little bit. You can see the blue grease down there. But when these fail, they allow this part, the armature, to kind of contact the sides of the commutator. These are supposed to, when energized, kind of ride on a magnetic field. Positive and negative, just kind of balance, but you can tell this one's kind of hidden, so it's no bueno. But regreasing the front and back bearings here got us through the night. So maybe this will help you. Hope it does help me for a night until I can get to Granger and get the new part. But otherwise, this motor is a foobarred because she has sang her last song. Hope you enjoyed. Hope this helps. I'll be back with more hopefully soon.